Hi, everyone. Welcome back. Welcome to your wonderful Monday. We are going to be doing the Waning Moon card pull. So, hope everyone has had a good weekend and enjoyed themselves, got some relaxed time in. So, we had that full moon last Monday, and now that moon is getting smaller and smaller. If you look at it, I saw it this morning. It was just lovely. It was exactly what I call a half moon, or what some astrologists call a third quarter moon, or I think what all astrologists call is a third quarter moon. So we are, of course, getting back into the time, getting closer to the new moon. So that energy is waning. So this full moon that we just had in Leo was full moons are powerful ones, and they do ignite or activate different parts of us, and depending on what and where those signs are in our chart. So some people might have been like, oh, it was a wonderful full moon. It's great, pretty low key. And others might have been, wow, it was pretty intense. So with this waning moon right now, we are continuing to go through some real serious looking within. And as I've mentioned before, I do follow other astrologers and read what they are kind of doing or coming up with for the energies in this waning moon. And one of the key takeaways or things to keep in mind is that we are really going through some very old, deep, ancestral, even rooted patterns right now. And I am absolutely experiencing that. And what that means is these times or things that keep coming around and around again in your life. And maybe you want to approach it differently or think about it differently. So those are some things that to keep in mind, that it is a time for us to release these things. These things can go way back through our ancestry and way back to so many different lifetimes, honestly. And it is the time now for us to look at those old cycles and address them once and for all, to finally decide, are we going to keep carrying this? Or are we going to release it and know that we are not all of the stories, all of these past things, that is not us, that we are a beautiful being here. So one of the things too I wanted to share with y'all, as many of you know who follow me in my shorts or on my other social media, I do like to get outside and go walking. Of course, who doesn't, right? But I did actually go today at my lunch hour, and I left my phone here. I drive to the park I go to, and I went looking for my phone, and I'm like, oh, I left my phone at home. And I just have to tell you, I thoroughly enjoyed being out there doing my walk with no phone. I saw bunches of opportunities to take pictures, and it was so wonderful out there today. Our weather here in Georgia, it was 60 degrees today. So we're getting those little tastes of spring. But it's just something to remember. Maybe try that. Leave your phone in the car, put it in the trunk, lock it away, or leave it at home if you don't live far. Because there was a time where we did travel without phones. And going in nature, it just made it more enjoyable for me, because then I could really enjoy what I was experiencing out there. So just a little tip. All right, so let's get on here to this waning moon card pull. And I am going to use the Kyle Gray's The Angel Guide Oracle. I'm going to use that. And we're going to do a four card pull here. And I have definitely started. I got into my space here, my sacred space. I saged it. I have a beautiful candle going right here. So, yeah, got a little jumper. That's nice. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to keep that jumper to the side, kind of switching up how I do things here. It's always good, right? Continue to change, continuing to evolve like we are. So thank you, Spirit Guides, for revealing to us what we need to know this afternoon on this waning moon. We thank you for your wisdom, and we are willing to listen. Okay, so go ahead and pull out 4 cards here. Let's see what we got. And sometimes I forget to do the jumper card, so I'm going to leave it right here where I won't forget. So, okay. All right. Fantastic. I am loving it. Okay, so the first card in this waning moon card pull is, what do we need to release at this time? We need to release old habits, old patterns, old behaviors. This is a time of transformation. And I know some people, like, you've been saying that for the past 2 years. Well, yeah, because change is not overnight. And we are really looking at a lot of old, deep rooted things. And it doesn't get done in a day, doesn't get done in a year. I mean, time is of no relevance to the energy that's out there, right? This is a construct that we created here. So transformation, that is a big one right now. I love the picture. It's just so beautiful, very powerful. We can change and transform. It is absolutely possible. So the second card is, what will help me through this time of the waning moon from now until that new moon that's coming around next week. And it's this beautiful forgiveness and understanding. So, we're transforming ourselves and our habits and our cycles and looking at how we don't want to be anymore. So, what can help us with that? Well, forgiving ourselves, understanding ourselves, forgiving others. That absolutely is something that we all need to continue to look at. That, to me, I feel like is one of the main things of healing is forgiveness and understanding. And it does start with forgiving ourselves first, right? Okay. So the third card is, what will help me accept and surrender? What will help me accept and surrender this at this time? And it's vulnerability and freedom. So what will help me accept the things that are going on right now and surrender to them? Just being okay to be vulnerable, being okay to open up to someone, maybe a loved one that, you might be feeling some sadness or hurt, or, a feeling that really is not one that you want to express outwardly to someone. And we keep those inside, and then it just stays in there and never gets released. So being vulnerable and opening up, and even just opening up to yourself, to your true self, to your soul self. How can I be vulnerable to myself and feel free? Freedom is a fantastic word, and we are free here. We can make the decisions we want to make for ourselves. We don't have to continue listening to a narrative that keeps getting recycled over and over again in this world. And I do know that you know what I'm speaking of. So do you want to stay on that same track? Do you just want to go through that over and over again? Do the same thing over and over again? Or can you be vulnerable? Can you open up? Can you really look at how you're feeling about a certain situation and sit with it and try to understand it and see how freeing that is when we are vulnerable to something and we talk about it and we feel it and we go through it? Can we do that? It's not easy, but that's what these cards are telling us for this waning moon and things that we need to do to accept and surrender at this time. So the last card is, what is the final outcome of this waning moon? And it's right in line with everything that we're talking about here. Opportunity and change. Opportunity and change. How wonderful is it that we can change our minds anytime we want? And that there are so many different opportunities out there for us. If something happens that you didn't expect, you're like, oh man, I really was wanting that to happen and it didn't. Well, that's okay, because that just means there's something better coming. There's always opportunity. If we change our hearts and minds into becoming more unified, more harmonious with what really is coming from our hearts, it's such a beautiful opportunity for us to change. So I mentioned that there was a jumper that came out, and let me just tell you, it's a beautiful card. Hi, sis. So good to see you. So this is the overall feel of the time right now, and something I feel, there's a lot of things going on out there, and it can be disheartening and disappointing and sad. But at this waning moon, we need to remember that we are showered with blessings and abundance all day, every day, depending on how we look at things. So that's the overall feel of this card pull, is knowing that we are blessed and we have abundance in all forms, that things do pass. And the more that we change and evolve, the more those blessings and abundance come to us at greater measure. So remember, what we need to release at this time is these old patterns and behaviors, and really transform ourselves, our soul selves. And then using that forgiveness and understanding to help us through this time. And to know that it's okay to be vulnerable. And the more that we are that, and the more that we show our true self, the more freedom we have. And then with all of that to be said, change and opportunity is right around the corner for us. And as always, remembering that we have blessings and abundance around us every day. That gratitude attitude, absolutely. So I hope this waning moon card pull brought you a little bit of comfort, maybe some insight, and maybe some things to think about as we get closer to that new moon, and we can start setting some new intentions for what's coming up for the next 4 weeks. So I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and remember to be easy on yourselves and to know that you are a beautiful, amazing being, no matter what. And that we can always change and evolve and transform ourselves to keep us in a more positive light. All right. Well, thank you again for watching. Please feel free to leave a comment on how you felt about the card reading. Just, of course, if you would like to share this information, please feel free to do so. So thank you again for joining me. Take care.